Welcome to Doctrine of the Hymns, a podcast where we explore the stories and doctrine behind the most beloved hymns of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm Todd Jepson, here with my co-host Nick Wells. In this podcast, we aim to enrich our worship, strengthen our faith, and delve into the music that brings us closer to God and Jesus Christ.
This episode is going to be different than all of the other episodes. It's an introduction. So we want to explain, why are we doing this? It's an opportunity to explore and to study the hymns deeper. There's a lot of resources out there to listen to the music of the hymns, and those are phenomenal. I love them. But I don't know of any resources that allows you to study the text and the words of the hymns in an audio format. So I thought of this podcast. Very early on, when I was thinking of this podcast, inspiration came. It was, hey, when you do this, reach out to Todd. So finally, after a year, I reached out to you, Todd. I said, hey, Todd, do you want to do this with me? And you said yes.
I did. I knew immediately when you started explaining what this podcast was going to be that I was going to be so excited for it. I mean, what's better than studying the hymns? I love music and I love learning more about the gospel of Jesus Christ. So when we bring those two things together, I think it's going to be something really, really special.
I think so too. I want to share two quotes that really stuck out to me when I was pondering over this podcast. And this helps explain why we're doing this. In Doctrine and Covenants, section 25, verse 12, it says, God has said, for my soul delighteth in the song of the heart. Yea, the song of the righteous is a prayer unto me, and it shall be answered with a blessing upon their heads. Song of the heart, talking about hymns. This is an opportunity for us to increase our worship. And then this line from the hymn book, the 1984 hymn book, the message from the First Presidency right at the beginning, there's a line that says, some of the greatest sermons are preached by the singing of hymns. I wonder, and I wonder this because I'm guilty of it too often, I love singing the hymns, but do I sometimes miss the sermon that's being taught because I enjoy the music of the hymn so much?
Yeah, I don't think that's to say anything against the music either.
Certainly.
I think it's just in part bringing both the music and the words together to form something even more. I know for myself, I'm a fairly reserved person, so I really enjoy sitting back and listening and taking things in. I may not be one to get up every fast Sunday to bear my testimony, but I am somebody who is always willing to get up and to bear my testimony through music, whether that's in the piano or by singing, and we'll talk about our musical backgrounds a little bit later. But there's so many opportunities to share the gospel, and I feel like music is such an underutilized opportunity to do so.
Todd, why don't you walk us through how we're going to be doing these podcasts, what it's going to look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to try and stick to a similar format each week. That way, if you miss a week, or if you come in late, or if you are brand new, or if you're a recurring person, you can expect the exact same thing. So our hope or our goal is to set one episode every single week. We are going to use that episode to focus on a specific hymn found in both the 1984 version as well as the new hymn book that's coming out. What an awesome opportunity where we're starting this podcast when we are, and they just announced a brand new hymn book.
Hymns for home and church.
Exactly.
It's incredible timing. We didn't plan that.
No, we definitely did not. And so as we go through these, we're going to learn about the people behind the text and the music. We're going to learn about the history of the hymn. We might even bring up some personal stories that go along with the hymn. But most importantly, we're going to be talking about the doctrine of the hymn, what the lyrics are actually saying, what the writer may have wanted to portray with his words, and how we can apply that into our daily lives.
So let's talk a little bit about ourselves then, so that people know who we are, and hopefully, in getting to know us a little bit, maybe we'll be able to all connect together more over the hymns. So as we said in the intro, I'm Nick, and then my friend Todd. We've actually known each other for many years. Todd, you said a number. How many years at least?
I think it's 17, 18 years that we've known each other.
Yeah, going back all the way to high school, possibly junior
Junior
high
high.
days.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, so in high school, Todd was in the orchestra and I was in the band. So we knew of each other then. We also joined a community youth symphony around the same time that ended up taking us to Virginia. And so that was a really, really neat opportunity and experience for both of us. And then I think where we really became friends is when we both joined the choir in high school. And I sing tenor, Todd
And I
definitely sang
sing
bass.
bass.
And actually, there's a funny story that goes with this that people should know about us. I always wanted to be a first tenor. I really am probably a second tenor. And Todd came up to me one day in choir and said, Nick, what's the lowest note you can sing? And so I sang the lowest note that I could. And Todd, you matched it. You sang the same note, and then you dropped an octave on me. You just went down a complete octave lower than I was. And that's when I knew I was never going to be a bass.
It's okay. You sing notes that I couldn't even dream about singing, Nick. So I think it's a good compliment. Um, but I remember that choir. I was so introverted, especially as a child, that I had no desire to sing in front of people at all. Luckily, I had a friend who is a little bit wiser and more mature than me, who, after begging and pleading and dragging me to auditions, made me audition because she knew that there would be something special there. And it was such a blessing in my life. And it ended up setting the course for the next 15 years of my life. I mean, from singing in university to our institute choir to now singing as a member of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. I mean, this has been such an amazing opportunity, one that little Todd I highly doubt would have ever thought in his life would happen, all because of the encouragement of a friend and then the friendships I made along the way, including that of Nick, who was such an influence on me growing up, and I'm so appreciative of him.
Todd and I have had some interesting, fun times in the past. So in high school, we went on a couple of group dates. At one point, Todd slipped on some black ice. Right, this was the beginning of the date. We basically picked up our dates, went to a park. Todd slipped on some black ice. I remember watching just legs go up in the air, come crashing down, and that was the end of the date. Really,
Yes,
did you get taken to? Did they take you to the hospital? Because we didn't
they
go with
did.
you.
I ended up tearing my Achilles tendon in two different places, had to have emergency surgery, ended up wearing a cast, wearing a compression sock for the rest of my junior year. It was embarrassing.
Oh, good times.
Through thick and thin, we have been friends, which has been great.
So and after there was a period of time. So we went off to different. We started at different colleges, and then
Yep,
we ended up both meeting up at Utah State again a couple of years later, and we both got involved in institute. You were actually on the LDSSA Music Council presidency one year,
I was.
and then the following year, I got put in the Music Council presidency, and so that was fun that we had that similar background, and we would spend a lot of time with our friends in the choirs that we are a part of. And specifically, I remember doing a lot of accounting homework in the Institute building. We would go to our accounting class
Oh
together,
my goodness.
and then we would walk to
So
the
much
Institute
accounting
building,
homework.
and we would just sit around this table. And there, I don't know, 5 or 6 of us regular people that just sat around this table, and then we attempted to study, but we didn't study very well. There was a lot of laughing every time we went there.
There was. And as good as accounting homework was to bring those friends together, I think the choir is what really solidified those friendships.
Definitely.
I mean, that's where I really gained a testimony of the hymns and how powerful they could be and what joy and light they can bring into people's lives. I mean, there are so many of our friends that, if you would agree, I mean, their hearts were touched and their lives were changed because of that choir. I certainly know that mine was.
There's a couple of songs still that certain phrases that I had special spiritual experiences with, that when I studied my scriptures and I come across those verses that remind me of those songs and the doctrines that I learned in singing some of those hymns. It's still a powerful experience every time I read those scriptures. And that's what we're hoping with this podcast. We're going to spend so much more time studying the hymns and actually having really spiritual experiences where we're learning what people are trying to teach. Why did they write this? Why did they produce this music? Why did they write these lyrics in this way? I think there's something to be learned from this, and the Spirit can teach us more.
I would agree. And I'm really excited to start this podcast. I know we don't really want this first episode to go too long because we just wanted it to be an introduction, introducing ourselves, introducing the podcast itself, Doctrine of the Hymns, and being able to set expectations and talk about our hopes that we wish to convey through the following weeks.
We're really looking forward to getting started. We'll see you all in the next episode then.
Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.